Well, thank you so much and welcome to The Sweetener. This is where today we want to turn an eye on the current situation in the sugar industry that has been taking shape. Numerous reforms that are being taken, especially by the current government. And today to discuss with me this issue is one of the farmers indeed himself, and he, of course, he'll be introducing himself to us before we take this conversation forward. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. This is actually my first time here.
Yes, definitely.
My name is Richard Ogendo. I am a third generation sugarcane farmer. And I am also the Secretary General of sugarcane farmers under Kenya Sugarcane Growers Association. That basically covers all the sugar growing areas in this country, which start all the way up from Mount Elgon down to Transmara, and now in Kwale. I just came from Kwale yesterday, and we are going to also be moving into Tana River, the Galana Kulalu, where a license is due to be issued to a new investor to build a sugar mill in Tana River. Yes.
Okay, that's good. And you've mentioned that you are the Secretary General of the Association of Farmers.
Yes.
Are these only sugarcane farmers or all farmers in general?
No, this is sugarcane farmers, but we are also under KENFAP. KENFAP is the umbrella association for all crops within the Republic of Kenya. Yes, and we have a membership. I represent the Sugar Growers Association in KENFAP.
Okay.
Yes.
Your hands are full.
So to speak.
Okay. Now, there has been a lot of reforms being undertaken, especially by the current administration in the sugar industry. And one thing was the operationalization of the Sugar Act of 2024, which came up with the Sugar Board and the privatization of the sugar mills, rather. Do you think this was a good idea?
It has been a journey. This journey of privatization started with the Kibaki government. We first had the Sugar Act in the year 2001, which brought on board the Kenya Sugar Board. But later on in the year 2013, it was replaced by the Crops Act and the AFA Act, which again completely destabilized the sector. But in this current dispensation, under the William Ruto administration, the reforms are being carried out. One of the key reforms that has been carried out is the reintroduction of the Kenya Sugar Board, which was under the Sugar Act 2022, which was brought on to the National Assembly by the MP for Navaholo, Mheshimiwa Emmanuel Wangwe. But that is not where the journey started.
Yes.
The journey started in 2018. I had gone to visit a friend of mine, the MP for Handui, then Mheshimiwa Wafula Wamunyinyi, and I was accompanied by my friend Saulo Wanambisi Busolo, as also a former MP for Ibuya,
Okay.
and Michael Arum of Sugar Campaign for Change, and another good friend of mine called Charles Atiang, also the chair of an organization called CASAP. So we had a lengthy discussion on the sugar sector because the AFA Act had completely decimated the sugar sector. We had so many problems. Farmers were not being paid on time. They were being paid less money. The regulations in the sector were not even in place. So we had to do something. So Mheshimiwa Wamunyinyi then went and drafted a private member's bill. Unfortunately, it went through all the motions, but the president never signed it into law, President Uhuru. But when President Ruto came into power, that's the first thing he ever did for Kenyan sugarcane farmers. The signing into law of the Kenya Sugar Act that brought in the Kenya Sugar board. So that is a key reform. Another key reform is the privatization of the sugar mills.
Yes.
Now, this has been on the cards from the last 19 years. And we cannot keep postponing something. It comes and then you keep postponing it. And so again, President Ruto, so to speak, asked himself, what is the worst can happen if we privatize these mills? Because farmers we have been complaining, and we had even said, let's privatize this sector so that we are paid on time. Because what used to happen is, you deliver your sugarcane, it is crushed, sugar is sold, the farmer is not paid, the transporter is not paid, the worker in the sugar mill is not paid, the taxes are not paid. So where does this money go? But what then happens is, because of we used to make so much noise, the government would then go to Treasury, and Treasury would give out money to pay farmers. Before that, when Sugar Board was in existence earlier, Sugar Board would give out money for farmers to be paid as a loan to these sugar companies, which they never even paid back. So it was an abuse of a whole system. So that was not working. That was not sustainable. So I know there are issues surrounding the privatization, or what we call the leasing process. You know, leasing is just a form of privatization, and the mills have been leased for 30 years. Okay. But right now, farmers are being paid every 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody.
And the current owners don't owe farmers any money.
Okay.
Yes, it is the government that took over whatever remained that had not been paid. Now, another thing we should never forget is before these mills were leased out, the government went and wrote off 117 billion Kenya shillings worth of debt that were on these sugar mills. That was huge. And that has had the subsequent impact of improving the books of these mills, so that then it made them ready for leasing.
Okay, that's a good one. But you will agree with me, Mr. Ochieng,
yes,
that not everybody is happy with the privatization that has happened, especially leaders from the Western Kenya region, especially Kakamega, Trans Nzoia. People are not happy.
I don't want to speak for them. In my own opinion, they are not speaking for the farmers of Nzoia who are not paid for years on end. Where were they? I mean, Nzoia farmers stayed 2 years, no payment. You deliver your cane. You know, that's the ratoon crop is now ready. The plant that you planted has not been paid. They were there. In fact, they were in parliament. What did they do for their people? That's a key question I keep asking, and nobody can answer me. And I said, okay, what is the option? What option do you have? Do we take them back to the same people who ripped them off? Because that's essentially what they're saying, that we take these mills, put it back under government, and then Treasury keeps on funding them. Isn't that what they're suggesting? What new ideas do they have that they're putting on them? What plan? What you're seeing basically is politics. I am afraid to say so.
Okay.
And this is the reason why. You cannot say something is bad without offering an option. If I say your tie looks bad, okay, I should be able to tell you, if you put on a yellow one, or if you put on a blue one, it would look much better on you. But you are not giving an option. What is your solution? Taking these companies back to government cannot be a solution. That can't work. Yes.
Do you think that currently, especially in the farming, in the sugarcane sector, there are some challenges that are taking shape, and what can you, as the representative of the farmer, do to minimize these ones?
The biggest challenge we have now is the shortage of the crop. Sugar board just came into being the other day, and we need to put money now into the into growing of sugarcane, into lands which had been there, especially in areas like in Mumias, in Busia, in Bungoma, in Trans Nzoia, areas in where I come from, which is the central zone. We have to put more investment in growing cane. And you may not believe this, but agriculture is devolved. But no single county government has invested in sugarcane or its farmers. Yes. That's the craziest bit. The national government's job is just policy. Yeah. And probably was running the industry then. But now that the industry is private, what has remained? The growing of cane, the primary producer, that should be the responsibility of the county government. How much do they allocate in their own budgets for the sugar sector? I can tell you here and now, none. So then, why do they, when we say that the tendering of roads should be given back to the national government, we are not just saying it for the sake of it. We are saying it because we as farmers are suffering. You cannot remove your crop from the field to the factory because there are basically no roads.
Are there no roads, or they are not just good?
You see, when a road is a gully, then how is it a road? The roads that are there, we cannot call them. Those are cattle tracks. Those are not roads. Yes. And you can go from county to county. Yes. Whether you're in Homa Bay, where sugarcane is grown, you'll find the same problem of roads. Whether you're in Migori, you'll find the same problem of roads. Narok, you find the same problem of roads. You see, Narok has done a bit better because the money is shared between the county government and Transmara Sugar Company. But they have not done all the roads, you see. In my area, which is Kisumu County, is the hardest hit. You should see a farmer transporting cane and the tractor or the trailer falls down 3 times.
Serious.
Before it reaches the factory. Inaanguka, loaders come and load it. Tena inaenda inaanguka, they come and load it. You see, so we actually petitioned the president that maybe, because we've seen how Kenya rural roads are doing the roads.
Yeah.
I said maybe it's a good idea if the county government surrenders the
doing of roads.
The doing of roads.
Construction of roads.
Yeah. And they take all that money and they give to President Ruto to do the roads for us. Yes.
So, Mr. Ochieng, so what are some of the things that the county governments, especially from the regions that are growing sugar, should do so that at least they should make sure that the sugarcane sector move to the next level?
One is investment in the crop. How do you invest in the crop? The cooperative sector is squarely under the county governments. Why can't they organize the cooperative movement properly, not what they're doing now? What they're doing now is sometimes is laughable because they come and the people do elections and they don't even look at who are these who have elected and they walk away. And then until another election is due. What they should do is to train the leaders in the sector on what they're expected to do. After they have trained them, then they have put some money in the budget. Then they give to this cooperative, the cooperative movement. And they can guarantee these cooperatives. It doesn't have to be the county money. They can guarantee them from banks so that they can borrow money and lend, onward lending to farmers. They can then get this more money from the national government. You understand? In collaboration, because we also have some money at the ministry where Governor Paranya operates from, which is the Ministry of Cooperatives.
Yes.
And bring them together. And this money then goes for lending to farmers. That's the way I look at it. That they should put in proper structures from the grassroots so that farmers grow more cane, they have more access to herbicides and fertilizer, which is already now subsidized. They have access to capital. If they want to buy a tractor, you buy a tractor. If you want to say you want to not only develop your land, if you can't buy a tractor, sometimes you want to lease more land to grow more cane, you can have the funds are readily available. So in a nutshell, the county governments haven't done much to inspire confidence in me that they can actually move the sugar sector forward. Yeah.
Do you think that there is need to change the kind of leaders that we have, or because the leaders seem not to understand?
You see, there is a saying that you elect leaders who look like you. You don't look somebody. If you elect somebody and it's bad, that is who you are. So the people elect people who look like them, then they turn around and say, this fellow is not doing this, or this fellow is not doing this. But actually, they are the ones who made that decision. So it's up to the electorate to decide what they want. Do they want progress, or do they want the usual political gimmicks and statements, and then 5 years later we are still doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting a different result? So in my understanding, we should have a generational change of leadership across the board. And it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It has happened before. I was not supposed to talk politics, but sometimes you say it as it is. This is what is going to happen. When Jaramogi died, you know, Jaramogi had his people.
Yeah.
What happened? The subsequent election of 97, Raila came with his people. So that is going to happen in the next election. But we expect that when it happens, those who come into power now are more responsible and more understanding of what is expected of them as leaders, especially if you're coming from a sugar growing constituency. Yes, I'm not saying that all the leaders in the sugar sector are bad, but there are some notable MPs that have done wonderful. For example, the loss of Wafula Wamunyinyi in Andui hit the sugar sector hard. It was one of the most accessible MPs. I am glad Honorable Mark Nyamita is going for the governorship of Migori. Mark Nyamita has been one of our most resourceful MPs when it comes to matters sugar. I have also had opportunity to work very closely with the MP for Navaholo, who is the one who brought in the bill as a private member's bill, the Sugar Act, Emmanuel Wangwe. I have worked with the MP for Tinderet, who is also going for governorship of Nandi, that is Mheshimiwa Meli. I have also worked very closely with the Mheshimiwa from Moroni, Mheshimiwa Onyango Koyo. So not all of them are bad, but the problem comes to the county. That is the MCAs and the governors. That is where we have a very, very big problem. Yeah, because they are supposed to enact certain laws that govern the sector within their areas of operation, which is not happening. Yeah.
Do you think that the current sugar production can sustain the current market?
The current sugar production is still way below, but as we're increasing the production now and bringing up new factories, we hope that by 2027-2028, Kenya will be a net exporter, and we will come out of this issue of all the time having to tell COMESA that we want to borrow money from you. We want to borrow money, we want to extensions. You don't borrow money from COMESA. Yeah. We want extensions and safeguards to protect the local industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because currently we import sugar.
About 200,000 metric tons.
Yeah. Do you think that this one does hit the local farmer?
It does, especially if it affects production, which sometimes does. Yeah. Sometimes we have unscrupulous traders who bring in sugar and custom sugar into the market, which completely disrupts the market. But again, the government formed an interagency force that has been able to deal with the proliferation of sugar that was coming in, especially from Somalia.
but now you see, when we have sugar from outside the country, and okay, they are not much, but you'll think that they will affect the prices in the market.
This is how they affect the prices.
Yes.
The production price of the sugar in the markets where they come from, say in Brazil or in Southeast Asia and India, the cost of production is low. The industries are fully diversified, and then we are not. So our industry relies on one product, which is basically sugar only. So if you are competing against a country that is fully diversified, for them, they can as well give you that sugar for free and still not feel it. So it means their sugar is cheap, and so therefore we can't compete. That was why the local farmer had to be protected under the COMESA safeguards. Yes. But it can't be forever. We need to understand that. And that's why President Ruto is very focused in reforming the sector, so that we cannot keep on begging for extensions every 2 years. Yeah.
And when you look at the sugar industry, there was some, what do you call it, benchmarking that was done, especially in India, I think, by the Kenya Sugar Board.
Yes.
So the current chairperson, Mr. Engineer Evans Odero,
Engineer
Gumbo.
Nicholas Odero Gumbo,
Yes.
is an interesting person. When he was dominated by the president to go and chair Kenya Sugar Board,
Yeah.
there was hue and cry, But of course, I had known engineer. At one point he was the chair of Kenyatta Hospital.
Yeah,
The chair, and wherever he had gone, because he was an outsider, he was able to look at things different
perspective.
from a different perspective, and make the necessary changes needed to move the industry forward. So the president had that in mind. There were other candidates that would have been chosen coming from whatever. But again, Siaya, where Engineer Gumbo comes from, is a sugarcane producing county. So they didn't know him. But now that they know him, farmers have a completely different perspective of Engineer Gumbo. Yeah, he brings a breath of fresh air into the industry. He is accessible basically to everyone, from the lowest farmer to the highest person in the industry or the highest manufacturer, which is very good for the industry. He has shared with us his vision of where we are and where he expects us to go. And I'm very sure that if we give him the necessary support, then we are able to be there. You also notice that the farmer directors are supposed to be elected. This thing has gone for so long, but I'm made to understand that there are people who went to court to stop the elections of farmer directors, who are going to then represent farmers in the board. Then the farmer's voice would be heard, not only in the board, because this is how it works.
Yes.
Workers have their own Central Organization of Trade Unions.
Yes.
COTU. And the people speak to the government through their members of parliament. So farmers also needed to be in government so that their views would be heard within government. That is why it was important for directors to be elected from farmers. Yes. So we hope that in the near future, not too distant future, then we will be allowed to exercise our mandate and elect credible farmers leaders.
Okay.
It has also been very difficult because the millers have also really interfered with the process of electing farmer directors. The millers have put up their candidates, which they are funding very well. And maybe this case has also been good because some millers have already been worn out.
Okay.
Some are, you see. But it has also given farmers also time to look at all of us who are candidates.
Yes.
Yeah, and say who, time is also not a bad thing.
Are you a candidate yourself?
I am a candidate myself.
Oh.
Yeah, I am a candidate myself. Having worked with farmers from the year 2012, representing them up to date, it's now time to move to the next level. And now do more of policy work than advocacy. Yeah.
So what new thing will you bring, especially to the board? If you're elected? Yeah.
One key thing that I endeavor to is how do we increase farmers' payment? How do we put more money into farmers' pocket? We had a project in the sugar board then called the cane testing unit. I have a passion for it. In fact, the initiator of the cane testing units is the current president of the Republic of Kenya. This project was lying somewhere in sugar board before we went and revived it.
Okay.
I traveled all over the world, in Brazil, in South Africa, to look at how this works. And then we brought it and we implemented it. Unfortunately, they have not been able to take off because of the private interests. Some private millers don't like it because it puts more money into farmers' pockets. How does it do that? That if you're a farmer and you develop your cane very well, and the sugar content in your cane is very high, you're paid as the sucrose content, you're paid for the weight. Now, if the factory where you're taking it is making electricity, it uses your bagasse to manufacture electricity, even for its own consumption, you're paid for that. If it has a distillery, you're paid for that. Basically you're paid for everything that comes from the sugarcane. Now that may move a farmer's earning from the current average of 5,500 shillings per ton to close to 10,000. So it means that the 4,500 we are currently not getting is ending up at whose pocket? The miller's pocket. And they don't want that. And they have fought us on that. But I'm very focused that if I get into the board, we must implement the cane testing unit so that farmers get more money into their pockets. That's more ni biashara. So they need to earn more from their labor. Yeah. So for me, that is very key. The second thing is infrastructure development. It is roads, bridges, and culverts. We need to standardize the quality of the roads that are being built for where sugarcane, what we call where sugarcane tractors operate, because sugarcane is heavy. You are carrying heavy duty material.
Yes.
You can't build the same roads you're building, say in in Seme, and you come and build the same roads in Muhoroni or in Dewa. It will not work. We must have a standard of the roads that are to be built in those areas. The Maram roads, we must have a particular standard for them. So we must standardize the sugar roads within the whole republic. The quality and the width.
The width.
Yeah, it's for me that is very, very important. Yeah, so that then farmers don't have to cry around that they don't have proper roads on where they operate from. Yes.
Any other thing probably that you would like to see when implement when you get into the board?
I work more closely with members of parliament in terms of, members of parliament are the ones who do this legislation. When you hear people screaming their head off, it's ridiculous for a member of parliament who sat in parliament when these bills were being passed
yes,
and contributed, then to go out and then start shouting that, we don't agree with this, but you are in parliament. That's sometimes what I tell some of them. But I want to work with them more closely in terms of further legislation to enrich the bill that is already, not the bill, the act that is already in place, so that we insulate the farmer more from issues like cane fires how do we insure the crops and so on and so forth. But we don't want an overregulated industry. We want more market forces to regulate the industry. That would be more beneficial to the farmers in the long run.
By the way, how is the insurance uptake in the sugar sector? Because
very low. The insurance companies fear the sugar sector. Because you grow your cane today, it burns tomorrow, arson or accidental fire, and so they are not very keen on the sugar sector. Yeah, but we must come up with a model that is workable. Yeah,
for everyone.
For everyone.
Indeed, and I think the last question that I will ask you is that when I saw engineer went on a benchmarking tour, especially in India.
Yes.
I think there's some samples of sugarcane that he was talking about. So do you think that there are different type of sugars that can survive in those sugar areas?
We lost from 2013
to
2022, we lost a good number of years absolutely doing nothing by having an act that was not beneficial to the sector. So we are catching up again, because now within the act, the Sugar Act, we now have the research arm, which is funded again by the Sugar Development Levy,
yes,
which is collected from farmers.
Yes.
So I hope that when they bring the crop, it takes a long time to bring the crop, bring it for research, to domesticate it and replicate it. It takes a minimum of 10 to 12 years for a single sample. Yeah. So it is sometimes beneficial to improve what you have, which is already in the country. Yeah. Otherwise, bringing tissue from outside may take a bit longer. Yeah. But I'm sure that it was, some of us who have been to India on those trips, I'm sure it was an eye-opener for him. Now he sees that our industry and the Indian industry is just the same. Yeah, except the farmers in India earn more than us. And that's why you see the president keeps saying he wants sugarcane farmers to earn like coffee and tea farmers. Because for an acre of sugarcane and an acre of tea and an acre of coffee, there's a world of a difference. The tea farmer and the coffee farmer earn 10 times more than the sugarcane farmer on the same size of a plot of land. So we have to move our farmers to earn even half what the tea farmers have.
But who dictates the earning of the farmer?
The earnings of the farmer, our market is wholesaler. How do I put it? It is determined by the wholesalers. The manufacturers and the farmers really have little say, because it was on the market, and the wholesalers are the ones who determine, and they use the forces of demand and supply and also hoarding to determine how much sugar is in the market and what is the price of sugar in the market. Yeah, that's how it's regulated.
And the middlemen in the sugar industry, because there were middlemen in other industries?
No, now we don't have middlemen in the farming sector.
Okay.
The middlemen we have are in the wholesale and retail sector. That's where the middlemen are, and on the imports. And the importers are not very happy people, as we are moving more into, and we want to bridge the gap on production and consumption in the country. We hope by 2027 we will be manufacturing enough sugar for the Kenyan market, so we don't have to import. So wataenda kutafuta kazi zingine.
Okay. That's amazing. So because now you've told me that you're vying to be elected as a member of the board,
yes.
So probably what will you tell farmers as we put this conversation into close?
Two things.
Yeah.
One, I would tell farmers to vet us according to our ability, because farmers principally know us, where we have been, where we are, and where we are going to as farmers, and look at the vision that we project, not only for us as candidates and for them, but for the country as a whole. That where would sugarcane farmers fit in the whole spectrum of the farming community within Kenya, which is very important for us. So once they are able to vet us, the next thing is they should also be able to turn up to vote for us in a process which I believe will be credible, fair, and verifiable.
You won't run to the servers?
For me, I always say, to the rest, you just, but sisi ingine sisi tumejipanga sasa wewe.
Now, that is a sweetener here at Trading Media. We have been talking to Mr. Richard Ogendo, who is the Secretary General on the Association of Sugarcane Farmers here at Trading Media. It has been a nice conversation about the sugarcane industry, the intakes, and the improvements that are required. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am Emmanuel Oma. Thank you.